this thing right here.
City?
I think it's a bit surreal. I never thought that it would be, I hate to say this, but I'm going to be honest because you asked, but I never thought it would be as siloed as it would be, because you think that you need to have the pulse on everything going on in the city. And it is this city within a city, the fact that you have to run these operations and you have these mega whales coming in, or you have these huge tech giants coming in, or you have these ginormous conventions that are, 65,000 people doing like world renowned type of conferences, that are broadcast across the world. You would think that there would be so much more of your involvement as the account owner kind of on the ground level. But truthfully, you are like the account relationship manager, and then you have just this huge force behind you that supports everything that you do to execute these huge events. And I think that that's kind of what I found super surprising, is that it truly takes a village. And I've said that my entire career because it's always taken a village. But coming into Vegas, people always kind of told me, oh, you want to work for a huge box, you can just book it and sit back and put your feet up, and I'm like, that kind of sounds cool, but I really like seeing the start to finish execution of things. And I really like the relational aspect of seeing things go from conceptual to experiential. And that was maybe something that I found so surprising, is that you really do, you book it and you turn it over, and then like the next team takes it and runs with it and then hands it over, and then the next team takes it and runs with it and hands it over, until you're like at the Wednesday night party and there you have Imagine Dragons and you're like, and now it's over. So I thought that was always very interesting. But they have loyal people that come every year, and Vegas offers something that no other city really truly does, and that's over 150,000 guest rooms and lots of convention space. And now the city's morphing into some world-renowned stuff going on, with Hilton really making a presence, with Resorts World, and now the conversion of Virgin, and the Sphere coming online. And there's just so much going on in the city that is taking blossom that isn't seen anywhere else in the world. That's really exciting. So I don't know. I mean, when things start to recover, and it looks like they kind of are going that way, I think it's going to be really cool to see what happens next from an experience.
I want to go back to the whales real quickly, because all I think of is, and I'm sure everybody says this, but is the show Las Vegas, which has been off the air.
Growing up in Vegas, Las Vegas, I know what you said about being a mom, but I mean, is it a little different as a child growing up? I mean, how does it, is it different lifestyle? I mean, that's always interesting to me, because to me, landing in Vegas and you see all that, and I'm like, okay, joking aside, would I want to live out here?
Yeah.
No. It'll probably be too much, because I'd see it too much. But I don't think what people realize is what you just said is the other parts of Las Vegas that maybe people don't, when they don't leave the strip and they don't go visit. I went to the, I've been to the lake. I've been over to the Hoover Dam. I like that area. I think it's beautiful.
That's impressive, because not a lot of people have.
Well, I think I needed a break, so I had no other choice. But yeah, all kidding aside.
You dedicated your name to a wing of a casino.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, exactly. No, but seriously, I'd love to know the, basically, you can act as a tourism director here and tell us about Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as growing up here, I can give you all kinds of different scenarios that were probably nuts looking back on growing up here that I thought were completely normal. But we had a lot of desert. So like I grew up collecting, catching lizards and snowboarding and going to the lake and learning how to water ski and going hiking at Red Rock and going to Utah and going to San Diego. So those were like my family's want, right? But then I had my best friend at the time who's mom, and she liked to gamble. And so we also had the other side of things where, you know, she would take you to go get a loaf of bread and you'd be sitting in the back seat of a car with the air conditioning on in the parking lot for 4 hours while she went into 7-Eleven to go get milk and bread, you know, because she legit was gambling.
She wasn't waiting for the bread to be baked.
Right. Yes. And we were not at Subway. And, you know, or when the MGM first came out, I don't know if you remember when that first came out with the lion head and the Mirage came out and it had the volcano and stuff. Yep. And like, it was a treat to be taken down there. I remember spending our Easter there and we'd watch the volcano go off and go see the sharks and go shopping at Sweet Factory. And we thought it was so cool. You know, you get dressed up and go down there. And that was just the coolest experience. It's like nothing you'd ever seen before. It was this magical land that you'd walk into. You know, my stepdad worked for Stardust. I don't know if you remember that casino.
Yeah.
And so he would always bring home decks of cards. So once they got bent, then we would get them because they couldn't play with them anymore.
Yep.
And so I had all these decks of cards, and my grandfather taught craps, and he taught in the days where he could tell me stories about listening to James Brown practice in the ballroom at the Flamingo and how Ike and Tina would come to his craps tables and he thought Ike was the normal one. You know, like,
wow.
Really?
Yes, you hear very crazy stories. He also met my step grandmother at Crazy Horse, which was partially funded by my Uncle Joey and also funded my grandfather's catamaran building excursion. And so he had to put Crazy Horse on the side of his boat because they funded the sails for his boat. And so he would sail Lake Mead and people would ask him if he had girls on the boat, and this and that and other thing, you know? So, I mean, there's all kinds of kitschy little eclectic, you know, curves and whichever way you want to look at it that you think are completely normal that until you leave, you realize are absolutely odd, but also define who you are.
Yeah. I've regularly visited too, which I like, is Old Vegas, going downtown.
Yeah.
That is another experience on its own.
Well, and Tony Say has completely redefined that, God rest his soul. But I mean, the downtown and the arts district of Vegas is a whole new beast. Like before, you wouldn't really go down there. It was dangerous. It was called the Naked City. And there's a bar down there that is called Dre's. They had one of the best karaoke nights ever. And my grandfather used to go there. It was a construction bar, and he would get picked up by my grandmother. And then my dad would go down there and he'd get picked up by my mom. And then when I went down there and I told my mom where I was going, she was like, "Don't you follow suit?" You know, I'm like, I'm going to sing karaoke. I just like, it's not like that. And now they've built Circa, which is the first ground up casino that is beautiful. It's got stadium swim. It's got Barry's Steakhouse in it. There's some really awesome restaurants down there and some great, there's a record store on 11th that also has shows in the back where their recording studios. So if you follow them, they'll tell you like the little hidden gem of shows that go on with their artists that come in and sing that you can find for really cheap. So there's lots of little fun things that you can find and do that are just off the strip that aren't just your norm, like going to excess and spending $2,500.
Have you seen a difference in yourself that now that you do have a child, are you more refined? Do you stay home more? Are you still allow yourself to go out and have a good time? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, but you know what? I to all of it, I'm more refined. I stay in a lot more because it's very painful to wake up with your child at 6 a.m. and after you've gone out in Vegas till 4. But we still let ourselves go out, and we have a great support group here. And so like it's just not as spontaneous as it once was. And we don't get to, I mean, COVID also happened. So, you know, that kind of kept us in during her pivotal first year. But like I really want to go try stadium swim. And we've got kind of this full list of things that we have to do, but we have to kind of put it on the wish list and plan things out a little bit more. So yeah, but it's been a lot different. We have a great backyard, so we get to swim and do stuff back here. And we bring the party here more so than anything. And our daughter's got a great personality and she likes to have fun with her siblings and sisters and stuff. So it's fun, but yeah, it's definitely a different pace. I'm glad I got it all out. Let's put it that way.
Do you feel like you did?
I think so.
Okay.
You think so?
I think so.
Just a couple
For now.
urges here and there.
For now.
I'll be there in November.
At any point in
FYI.
time, you could just decide to change it and decide,
up.
hey, I'll go up here and there.
That's right. Like I have a Colorado concert that I'm going to in August that I'm really looking forward to at Red Rocks. So we've got that going on. I have a wedding in Cancun that I'm going to in February. So, you know, we've got like little things that we've peppered in here and there. But like when Jen comes to visit in November, like definitely let's grab some dinner or let's go to the new beach club at the Virgin and grab a drink. Check it out.
What I was going to ask you has Vegas changed since the pandemic hit? Good or bad?
100%.
You know,
it's different. I think things are starting to get back to normal, but I don't think a lot of people know what normal really means. I'm speaking purely off of my opinion and kind of a lot of the industry things that I've read. And just from the feedback of my customers, things aren't going to be, in my opinion, and shoot me if I'm wrong, but aren't going to be these mega conferences that we've seen in the past, 65,000 people without some kind of a hybrid component. I think that the hybrid component during the COVID shutdown, where they went virtual, they had smaller regional in-person meetings that were vital to, you know, an ROI or vital to some kind of a return that you got in having face-to-face meetings with those small niche groups. To find you having to be there, I don't think that's going to happen really on such a big scale where people just come, you know, because it's a conference and they've always gone. Like you're going to have to really define a purpose and a value for actually being there and being face to face. And I think that the virtual component they've proven, while it may be such a nightmare to execute, it has cast a huge global net in how big your audience can be. And I've seen that they can also target from a virtual component, people that need certain content can attend certain virtual components of that conference where you might have to pay, you know, $15,000 to attend CES when really you only wanted a third of what the content had to offer. So maybe now you can only pay a third of that and attend a third of it and save the money on the airfare and the liability. So I don't know. I mean, I've read a lot about that. I'm curious to see how big the return's going to be from an attendance perspective and if there's just going to be a lot of attrition moving forward.
Well, because, you know, I want to know, like, from a point, because I know when my friends went out there during the pandemic,
yeah,
you know, certain things weren't open or things were open when they were open during every day. They were now open just on the weekends.
Yeah.
Has that changed, like with the nightclub scene? Or I mean, I don't know if you know this answer, and maybe you don't.
From a leisure perspective, people are down to go all day, all night. I've seen that have returned quick. Like we went to, I mean, look at the Knights games that you see on TV, for example. It's 18,000 packed stadium. They don't care. The outside packed. I went to XS with my girlfriends that were just in town. Again, packed. I felt weird being there, but packed. You know, Life is Beautiful is getting ready to kick off, sold out. The restaurants back to 100% after Memorial Day, filled. Salons,
I wonder if
outfits.
if like with these people that are going out, whether it's a restaurant or it's like a Golden Knights game, whether like the average check at like actually at the POS station is increasing, where people are just like, I'm just gonna splurge right now instead of getting 2 cheeseburgers, I'm gonna get 3 cheeseburgers. As funny as it sounds, but like that, it affects your bottom line at the end of the day for some of these places.
I would say yes. So here's the interesting reason why I would say yes. I was walking through Wynn, and this was even right before the stimulus checks were coming out, right? Everybody had just received them. And I was talking to the lady at Chanel in the Wynn, and she's like, oh, we're sold out of that. We're sold out of that. She's like, you have no idea. We have lines out the door. We cannot keep things in stock. And we went to some really nice restaurants. Service, I hate to say this because I love my city, but the service still needs to recover with the same levels that I think people are expecting to come back and have this high-end experience,
Right.
that they are craving, because they still don't have the hourly team members that they need to deliver the same personalized touch points that they had prior to COVID. And whether that's back of house or front of house, I feel like people just need to be patient. If you're going and you're expecting the same type of an experience that you had prior, then it might take a minute to recover. But if you're going there being like, hey, I got my money, then, now you're in a different.
Do you find it more exciting to work at a casino hotel, or would you rather work at, I don't know what other hotels you worked in the past where they're working like at a Hilton in San Diego?
Like a convention hotel.
Yeah.
I think it was more exciting to work at a convention hotel, honestly.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, it's fun to work at a casino hotel when you're entertaining. Okay. Because you've got people coming in and you can offer them 42 celebrity chef restaurants to choose from. And we can go see Justin Timberlake tonight, or we can go see, Lady Gaga, or do you want to go to the Knights game? Or, we've got great box seats for the Raiders that are coming up.
All right, you're selling me right now. I feel like getting on a flight and getting over this. So keep it up, please.
But that's not always. That's like maybe IMEX, like International Meetings Expo, or specific conventions that are coming in.
Does our listeners conference?
Yes.
All our listeners from Ohio and Kazakhstan and areas of where they are.
Kazakhstan.
when we do our three guys, we're gonna. Is Venetian the spot? What's the hot hotel right now?
Oh man, I'd have to say Resorts World's the hot hotel right now.
That's
everything. Yeah, it's like
they just opened today.
Yeah, today.
Today. Multi-billion-dollar hotel. It's got arenas on site that are unprecedented. I mean, I think that hotel is really going to redefine the center of the Strip, which is what everybody wants to see, because they're so tired of seeing the south side of the Strip being, the defining purpose, where the north side has so much to offer with, Venetian, and now Resorts World really defining what's going on the north side, the expansion of the convention center. Then you've got walking distance to some really beautiful resorts like the Bellagio, Caesars, so I think it's going to be Resorts World. And then I think downtown has a lot to offer. Walking traffic that comes in to visit Vegas that doesn't really get to see that side, or that maybe is a different demographic. Like, I'm sorry, I like lounge experience stuff, and I like really good food, and art. So like, I'm going to go downtown all day long before I end up going to some kind of a huge nightclub.
Plus the people watching downtown is a little different.
Yeah, it can be a little sketch. I mean, if you're on Fremont Street.
Sketch is a little understatement on that one.
but yeah.
So later into the night, earlier into the morning. That's in the real fun.
It's almost like Sesame Street where they sing that song, which one of them don't belong?
Yeah, which one of these things is not like the other?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is a fun area. It's a fun area, though.
It's a super fun area. Like Container Park, super fun. They've got like a bunch of new restaurants that are opening down there. There's Vegas Test Kitchen. There's Main Street Provisions that's just opened. They actually have a really good beer scene that's opening up now too.
Well, I mean, you're at steaks. Like, you get steaks for cheap sometimes. They have some great offers down there. I don't think people realize it to have. I have friends of mine that they say, listen, when I go to Vegas, I stay in the downtown area.
Yeah.
area, and they said, I love it. Steaks, they can get really cheap.
Yeah.
Drinks cheap. You can, the dollar slaw. I mean, the dollar craps game, dollar blackjack. So it's a little bit more interesting. And when I tell people, they say, well, why would I want to go to Vegas? I don't gamble. And I said, well, there's more than gambling to do in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's why when you're mentioning all these places, which I haven't heard of, I think it's great to explain to the listeners or just people in general that there's just more to do than just gamble. I think that's what people, the misconception is with Las Vegas is that, oh, wow, I don't gamble. I'm like, wait, there's shows, there's restaurants, you want to go to a bar, you want to go do other things, you want to go sightseeing. I mean, they have a lot to
yeah,
offer.
I think that when we first went, I didn't really Vegas wasn't I'm not a huge gambler. So, at the time I didn't really get acclimated to the arts and things like that. But there is a ton, by the time I went out there years later, and again, I think my brother was out there, it was so much fun. I did the Mob Museum and then, like you said,
which is a great take.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. I tell anyone to go to do that and they could spend hours there. And then obviously if they have that speakeasy bar, that's just another, check mark on that, that visit. But yeah, there's so much there to offer. And then, you got hockey games, now you got football games. And, I think you could probably find something to do at any moment that doesn't have to do essentially with the casino. It might be attached to it, but
yeah, they have Area 15. I don't know if you guys have heard about that one too, that just opened. And that's done by a collab that they do with a lot of art from New Mexico called Meow Wolf. And their collaboration's really cool. They've got a bunch of different rooms that you can walk through. They have right now they're featuring Omega Mart, and they're doing the Picasso or the Van Gogh exhibit, the Van Gogh exhibit that's in there. That's an immersive experience that's in there, but you can go to different bars and you can walk through the whole thing, or you can buy it out and host an event. And that's a really cool new venue that just opened up. And then Allegiant Stadium, I think their first concert is Garth Brooks, and he was postponed from 2020 to now. And they've got a huge nightclub in there that's really sick. It's field level in the end zone with the booths that face the end zone. You get bottle service and the whole nine. So there's 3 different bars. There's it's a really, really impressive stadium. I mean, they take a 4-foot platform and roll in the real grass for the games and then roll it out. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So, I mean,
I call it Disney World for adults. Disney World for adults.
It totally is.
Spring break for
totally
adults.
is.
Yeah, spring break.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you like to golf, I mean, right now it's kind of like golfing on the sun. But if you like to golf, McDonald Ranch has Dragon Ridge. It's really cool. And you could see all the $15 million homes that are out there. It's just a stunning course that's challenging and fun and not too far from the Strip. So there's lots of options. It's fun.
I want to jump in real quick because you and I had a really good conversation on Monday just about sort of what's going on with you and sort of the twists and turns of your own personal career path. And I do want to touch on that. And Jennifer Pesicka and I also, we chat all the time about careers and what, in our crazy profession and all that kind of stuff. I thought it'd be interesting for the listeners. Well, our listeners have heard a lot about what a path is, and people who live with, people who have a plan in place and what they're trying to do and all that stuff. Talk a little bit about yourself with what, we talked about what you do for a living, what you've done. Talk a little about, at least in the last couple of years, what you've experienced and where you are now and where you're looking to go.
Yeah. Gosh. So the last couple of years, I mean, I've had so many changes in the last couple of years, from my career starting in San Francisco, really as in my hotel career, to transitioning down to, the Hilton complex team where I met you guys in San Diego and just having a blast in my career, to deciding that it was time to really settle down on my future and focus on my family life, to moving to Vegas and joining, a casino hotel team, to having a baby, and really deciding that it might be better suited for me to focus on being a mom for right now and a wife, and I worked all through COVID and just recently decided that this is probably my best purpose right now, is just to really focus on the stability of my family. And, that just recently came about. My daughter's going to be 2 on Halloween. And, just having that kind of home base. My husband's in the loan office industry here or the home finance industry here in Vegas. So his industry's been nuts. Just having that kind of stable home foundation has been my new purpose, and just kind of being able to redefine what's next for me is really where I'm at as far as what's my next purpose. But right now, that's truly my main focus and my main purpose. And it's interesting, like you were talking to Elizabeth, and she talked about like failing to succeed. And I thought that was a really interesting notion, because being a career woman to being a career mom and wife to being just mom and wife is kind of like, holy crap, did I fail, or am I failing to succeed? Because really, truly what my purpose is to raise a fully capable daughter and a fully capable, woman who has the independent mind of her own, and provide a stable place where our win is that my husband is truly excited to come home because he knows that I have his back. And so that's kind of where we're at now, which is really weird for me and really a hard kind of pill to swallow sometimes. But it has been super rewarding.
It's funny. You put just a mom and wife in quotes, but I truly think, that is one of the for any parent, not just a mom, but for any parent, that is the most important role. Like you say, you're forming a human, right?
Yeah.
Like their values, and she will so appreciate later that you were able to stay home and be with her during those milestones. And I never think that anybody should say just a mom or wife, because it's a hard job.
I would agree. And I'm really blessed that we can still afford to send her to daycare, which she loves, for a few hours every day. And I think that's been such a blessing for her, and not only for me, but also in her development. Like she's singing colors, and she knows friends that she's had since she was 6 weeks old, when she started going to daycare when I was a full-time, working mom. And our job as a hospitality professional is very demanding. The travel, the late nights, the nights and weekends, a lot of the things that you have to do almost aren't feasible when you're trying to really be that stable presence for your family. So I found that would be, especially in a 24-hour town. It's hard enough when you're on the road so much, especially long distance like you did, JP, or are doing. It's challenging. And I don't know if I could see myself doing that in a confident, happy, expectation that I would have on myself as a mom at this moment. And I think COVID's awarded me that liberty. The decision, was kind of mutually made, and it was like, well, this is the time for that to be made. And here we are. So I was really lucky to have a job all through COVID, which was great. I never would have been given that time through maternity leave and then having to go back to work to see her, walk, talk, do all of these milestones, like ever, if it hadn't have been for COVID and for the situation that we were all in. So definitely failing to succeed. And now what's next? I don't know, but we'll see.
There you go. Oh, JP made a good point. You made a good point, JP. People think that's not an easy job. That's a full-time job, being a stay-home mom, and what you're giving back to your daughter, she will appreciate. And I agree with you, JP. You nailed that on the head.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think something else that we'll start to see too, not just in our industry, but across all industries. I think people realized during COVID that they were missing a lot. with their family,
Yeah.
right? When they were able to stay home and work. For those that kept working when they were able to stay home and work, they realized how much they were missing. And so I'm hopeful that will continue on. And yes, we travel a lot for our business, but maybe folks will go home on Thursday night instead of Friday so they can have the whole weekend. I think that you'll start to see more of, hey, you know what? No, I need to be home with my family this weekend. Instead of just like, okay, work says I need to be there. All right, I'm going to make it happen. I think you'll see a lot of folks just saying, no, I've done what I need to do. I've made it a successful trip. I got to go.
Or respecting that decision if you make it and they decide to stay. Like,
correct. Yeah,
totally right. You know what I mean? I think that's great. And I was looking at something that was from 2005, and it was a Delta immersive experience, or 2015, excuse me. And it was from Iyer, who's an author of The Art of Stillness, right? And they did this immersive experience at this convention, and you go in, and it's Delta Airlines had done it, and it's this light up dome, and you go in the dome, and your heartbeat drives the meditative beat of the dome, and you're just kind of forced to be still in this moment and let your heartbeat drive like the pulsating beats of the lights and the experience and everything. Wow. And I was like, how profound. This was before we entered into a pandemic situation where people were forced to slow down. Like, he was so ahead of his time for realizing that this is a need for all of us to just take a minute and like really slow down and breathe. And like to see that was pretty cool. Like, it came on LinkedIn, I think not that long ago. I think it was 2 days ago or something. And I was like, wow.
That's an excellent point. I mean, I think we just moved so fast that this pandemic put everyone, like JP said, you stopped and said, okay, what's important and what's not important. And it's sitting, having being in the right mental state where, okay, I'm missing these things that I shouldn't be missing. Or what Brian at one point in time, not that he does it now, but I know he would sit in traffic when he used to work in Boston and coming back and forth. And Boston traffic's horrible. Yeah. And, you're going to work you're leaving before, sometimes in the wintertime, especially up here, you're going to work before the sun comes up. And when you come home, the sun's already down. So, and then, you get home and it's like, okay, how much family time do you have? Especially from this point of view. So it's totally, that's a good point, because I think, we all did it and realized what's more important. Now, I said, okay, now I don't want to just sit there and, I'm not going to say, well, I need to, because I own my own business, that I'm not going to be traveling anymore. I'm going to say, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to go travel, and whatever it is I need to do, I'll do. But why am I going to put off what I should be doing and enjoying life that at one point a year ago, maybe not being guaranteed for some of us if we got this,
Right. Or Derek, it might make it, you need to really warrant, does it make sense for me to travel there?
Yeah.
Like, instead of just having a steak dinner with somebody because it sounds fun, does it really make sense for you to uproot and go down there and spend the money on the hotel room, et cetera, et cetera? Like, you really might have to justify it for true ROI. I don't know.
No, if I need to come to Vegas, I make sure I come to Vegas. That's not going to be put off. That is something I need. And
JB, you ready to have some fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, the podcast won't be able to see it, but show us your wrist. Show us your tattoo.
Oh, I'm like, you want me to show you my chicken wing? Like, dude. Here.
Tell us the story of tell us what it is we're looking at, and tell us the story of it.
Okay, so another cool story about growing up in Vegas. My grandfather used to race hot air balloons, and I don't know if you know, like, Nevada has a big thing with hot air balloons, right? There's a great Reno hot air balloon race, and there's a lot of hot air balloons.
Brian likes flying kites, so this ties into each other.
Same, totally,
same,
totally, totally. And so my grandfather was one of the pioneers to fly in Vegas. He was 31. He bought his first balloon. It was like 70 by 50 feet, something huge, and it was a aluminum basket with like a little string through the aluminum. And he decided that he wanted to fly over Valley of Fire and be like the first one over the lowest point in sea level. And he ended up crashing, and something happened, and the tank blew up and he got drugged and his feet fell through and he got shattered his feet and got drugged through like Death Valley. Some guy happened to be hiking and he lost touch with the ground crew, which was my mom and my dad. And the guy saved him. He shattered all his feet. He still walks, which is a miracle.
Wow.
But hot air ballooning is big in our family because after that, he's in the news and this is a whole thing. He used to take us as kids and take my dad, and my mom was on the crew. My grandma still has like her fuzzy balloon jacket. I have a fleece balloon jacket. So hot air ballooning is big in my family and in the Vegas Valley. So the Busse-Nieves are known for hot air ballooning. So that's why my father passed away and he found me a 4-leaf clover. So that's the 4-leaf clover in the middle.
Nice.
And he taped it to the bottom of my graduation letter. And when he passed away, I was 24. And I thought, what better thing to do than get a hot air balloon on my wrist for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my husky, Grizzy. Hi. You can actually have huskies in Vegas. That's another myth buster.
Lots of water. Lots of water.
All right. So we got, Brian, I don't know if you have any, but I got some pick'em questions for her.
Oh, you broke up.
All right.
What do you think, Jen? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to start you out with the heater right now. And JP, I got some for you too.
Boy.
Pretty Woman or The Notebook?
Oh, Pretty Woman.
Oh, okay. Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison?
Happy Gilmore.
Theater or movie theater?
Depends on the flick.
Or the theater.
Yeah, or the theater. Are we talking like the lot? Or are we talking like AMC?
You gotta go with one. You got to go with one.
I'm going to say the theater that serves drinks and dinner at your seat.
Okay. Pasta or pizza?
Pizza.
Cookies or cake?
Cookies.
Read a book or do an audible?
Read a book.
Okay. And dun 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 dun. Here's the drum roll. Prime time, them in 80s or 90s. Rob Lowe or Tom Cruise?
That's a hard one. Gosh. Rob Lowe, like Less Than Zero, that era was kind of tough, but he was always messed up. I'd have to go with Tom Cruise.
You liked him in Risky Business, didn't you? Sliding across the floor in his underwear.
I mean, yeah.
Or Tom Cruise, Top Gun. Tom Cruise,
Tom
Top Gun.
Cruise, Top Gun.
Yeah.
Cocktail.
Yeah, that's Brian's favorite Top Gun. The
Cocktail's a good movie too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he in Legends of the Fall too, or was that just Brad Pitt?
I think that was just Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I don't think
Just Brad Pitt. Oh no, I'm
I
thinking
think
of
they did the vampire one together.
The vampire.
Yeah.
That's what
Interview.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
That's
right.
what I'm thinking of.
Okay, JP, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to do the same one. The Notebook or Pretty Woman?
Pretty Woman.
Okay. Rich and Famous or Rich and Unknown?
Rich and Unknown.
Yes.
That's an easy one.
Mhm.
I'd rather be Rich and Unknown too.
And then I'm going to hire Derek to keep all the people who haven't been in touch with me for years to just
There you
back
go.
up.
There you go. If I have to fly to Vegas to do it, I will do that too.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. Attend a party or host a party?
Host the party.
Okay. Why host a party?
Because I'm actually quite an introvert. And so if I host a party, I can be overdoing other things. If I attend a party, I feel like I have to be social.
Well, your follow-up question on that one: would you invite Brian?
Sure. Everybody's welcome into my home.
Oh, she just said no.
I'm only saying that because he lives in Boston, which is like 3,000 miles
You're
away.
only saying that because he invited you on the podcast as a co-host. Just
True.
let's just
Yeah,
be real.
true.
I'm
I
with.
work with him, you know?
Yeah, you're gonna make Brian feel better about himself. If he wears his vest, he gets free pass VIP.
Definitely.
Vest
Yeah,
required.
that's interesting. You said that about the like keeping yourself busy, because I'm the same way. Like I go to a party, I'm like, what do I say? Am I even interested enough to even like to keep people like intrigued or even there sitting next to me?
Right.
Art museum or history museum?
Interesting. Probably history museum.
Okay. reality show or documentary?
Documentary.
Okay. And the last one, this one's kind of funny one. Robots or dinosaurs?
Oh shit.
Jesus, that's an odd one. That's an odd
Excuse me.
question.
Shoot. Oh shoot. Dinosaurs or robots? Man, robots are gonna take over my job, so I'm going dinosaurs. At least they move slow enough you can outrun them.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
unique question.
That's great.
Yeah, what made you come up with that one?
I found it. I saw it and I was like, oh man, this is a really good question. I'm a big dinosaur guy, so yeah. I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay.
That does it for my pick'em questions of the day. Actually, I'll
like
give
it.
this one to you too. Rob Lowe or Tom Cruise?
I have to say, Rob Lowe is getting better looking the older he gets. So Rob Lowe now, I feel like Tom Cruise is pretty high maintenance. I'd probably go Rob.
You know what, Jamie, one last question, because I always ask the guests, I think I missed one guest we didn't ask, but do any of your local grocery stores play any good music?
Yeah, I'd have to say Sprouts. Play some pretty good music.
Really?
That one's on. Yeah, they play some pretty good
What's it called,
music. You walk
Sprouts?
Sprouts. Mm-hmm.
Is that
Sprouts?
like a
Sprouts?
is that like
Vegetable?
Publix or whatever?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Trader Joe's and a Molly Stone's had a baby, or like a what's the other one? The whole check.
Like a Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. Yeah,
Foods.
like Whole Foods, yeah.
Yeah, we'll check. Oh, another one. Jump on that one.
What type of music
That's
they
good.
play in there? Is
I'd
it a
have to
mix?
say like Jefferson Starship.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. From
Yeah.
Anakin, right?
It's
well,
probably-
actually,
well,
they were at the time. Probably
It's
called.
probably more yacht rock. Like,
Oh, that's
right?
cool. Yeah,
So,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So, have you heard of the Yachtsmen?
No.
So, I think they might be going to San Diego, but you should check them out. They're from Britain, and they're like a traveling yacht rock band. And,
Really?
That's pretty sweet.
yeah. Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
And make little
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that.
So,
That station's good to rock out, especially in the summertime.
It's the best on Spotify. It's the best station.
so our
Yeah.
listeners can connect with you somehow. How best would
Yeah.
they connect with you on social media?
I would say via Facebook. I'm Jennifer, like
Jennifer.
PHO.
Jennifer.
Yeah,
or
like
Jennifer?
Jennifer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you say it pho, right? So Jennifer, but it's spelled PHO. And or I am on Instagram, J Busse, BUSSE.
Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Congratulations on your family and your
Yes.
daughter and
Yes.
all that good stuff. And we're gonna have you back to hang out again with us and do some more pick ones and just chat on all kinds of stuff, because your personality is one of the best.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Definitely.
much, you guys. I have a
Congratulations
blast
on
with
your new
you
career
all.
choice.
Yeah,
you.
congrats.
Live your
Congrats on
purpose,
Thanks.
girl.